the first rule of thumb, don't do to others what you don't want to yourself. But unfortunately, there are people that want to make you suffer, and they're using their mental health to weaponize the situation. And I feel that there has to be a limit of what somebody is willing to accept. And you can't rescue them all, they say. But you have to rescue your own mental health and well-being first and foremost. So if you're on the receiving end of being emotionally abused, then that's power and control. Some people use the excuse and say, it was the drink that made me do it. It's not a drink. It's not the drink. It's power and control. And there is a TikTok creator, who I will not name, who has just come out of the mental health institution because they were drinking and they were acting erratic, and then they were bullying, and then they were being violent. So they ended up in the mental health institution, and it was only supposed to be for a period of a few days. And then it got extended and extended and extended because they couldn't stop being violent. They couldn't stop their behavior, which was affecting other people. Now, drink wasn't the excuse then, because they were sober. But they just like to throw their weight around. Power and control. Now, I get sick and tired of people saying, it was my mental health that made me do it. It was the drink that made me do it. No, it's your behavior. It's because you want the power and control. Now, I was disgusted, absolutely disgusted, to hear that this TikTok creator, who gets paid for this behavior, this TikTok creator wants revenge. Power and control. They want revenge. So in order to get revenge, they get their phone out. They're on here. They get another phone. They dial up the dad, and they turn around and say to the dad, I'm going to end my life. I'm going to unalive myself. That's what they say to the dad early hours in the morning after they had a few drinks or two. They're laughing on screen. And they think it's a bloody joke. But the poor father that has to hear that must be terrified, or maybe they've come to terms with the fact that maybe one day they'll lose their daughter. This daughter has many, many problems, and one is power and control. I'm going to say it and call it as it is. But this daughter is using mental health as a weapon against their family. This daughter also picked up the phone, again, on here with video, got the other phone. Hello, sis, I'm your blood, blah, blah, blah. You got to put up with me no matter what. The sister said, what are you calling me for? I don't want you to keep calling me. Why don't you leave me alone? What are you going to do now? So the sister is almost aware of what's going to happen next. So the sister turned around and said, why don't you go and unalive yourself? The sister clearly exhausted with the behavior, but you should never say that to someone, go and unalive yourself. You shouldn't do that, because if they do it, then the onus is on you because you pushed them over the edge. What you can do when you've had enough and you feel that these people are using emotional blackmail, and they're saying and they're threatening that they're going to unalive themselves, is send a welfare check. Give it to the police to do. Send a welfare check. Because if you are exhausted of the emotional abuse that you're receiving from somebody who's saying they've got mental ill health, then you don't have to accept the bad behavior, and you don't have to accept this bullying tactic that they're doing. And I have to say that, yeah, people say it's a cry for help. And it may be a cry for help. But if you're fed up of receiving emotional blackmail, and you know you don't have a good relationship with your siblings or with your children, but they're just blackmailing you all the time and trying to mock you and blast you on social media, then you're going to have to hand it over to the right authorities, the right people, to help them with their mental health, rather than say, go and unalive yourself. You should never say, go and unalive yourself to somebody, particularly if they've just been sectioned, and particularly if you know that they've got mental ill health. You could just be the one that tops them over the edge, even though you're aware of their manipulating behavior and their tactics. Now, there are some people that really do cry out for help and they mean it, but sometimes some people just want to see you suffer. When you're drinking, if you have a diagnosis, you are more likely to escalate your behavior and project that onto somebody else. You have to take accountability for your own well-being, and you have to make steps for recovery. Drink at the end of the day is not the excuse for the behavior. The power and control is. And that's what we have to look at. Power and control. Mentally, emotionally blackmailing somebody is not cool. It isn't cool. You're berating other people, you're bullying other people, and you're certainly emotionally blackmailing your family. I don't like it, and I don't have to like it. I can see it for what it is, young one. So yeah, am I vexed about the TikToker? Absolutely vexed about the TikToker. I'm glad they're safe, but they need to stop drinking. And if they feel unwell, call the crisis team. That's what I have to say. But most of it is they want attention.